Assalamu alaikum. This is WAQAR Ahmed from 49th and 50th Common. So actually, I'm uploading a few lectures as I have some time, so I wanted to upload some beneficial videos for you. And this is the reason I've already uploaded a couple of videos that may have some kind of importance as far as competitive exams are concerned. So this lecture is about national security policy, and it has immense importance due to the fact that the security situation of Pakistan is getting worsened day by day, and it is posing a severe threat to the security of Pakistan inside. So, as the national security policy, it was actually announced in January 2022, but it was quite a unique security document, a policy document of the state, in which multiple dimensions were covered rather than just focusing on conventional security. So I'll be explaining what is this document, the policy of the state regarding the with the name of National Security Policy, which will be for 5 years and it will be reviewed yearly. So this policy document is really much debated when it was announced, but there are some chapters that remained classified and confidential. A policy document for the public and media and international stakeholders was issued, but still some of the parts and chapters are classified and it is not available for the public. So, in this lecture, I'll be covering the brief background that how Pakistan tackled its security concerns, as well as I'll be explaining what is this policy document, what are the 6 areas that we will discuss here, and the major area that is even covered in this policy document. So I'll be explaining the 6 areas, its weaknesses, its strengths, and I'll be having a proper conclusion of this lecture. So let's start it formally. Okay, just let me start the cursor. So right now you can see I've started with the introduction that it is a strategy of the state. A national security policy is a multi-pronged strategy, and it has immense importance for Pakistan's future, because if for the general debate, Pakistan has always focused on improving its conventional armed capabilities, the military capabilities, and it has avoided and ignored the fact that economy, the human safety, as well as the environment, the water safety, as well as the energy sector. I mean, it carries importance. So you actually have to focus on multiple things rather than you just focus on improving your military capabilities, because the world is so much interconnected right now with the social media and internet that a, a minor fake news or disinformation can create havoc in a society, a country. So I mean, there are emerging threats, and Pakistan, a much needed document, is in the form of national security policy. So it will be a bit lengthy, but I wanted you to comprehend this concept. What is national security policy? Every now and then we normally listen to it, but in this lecture you'll be able to completely comprehend this national security policy, its dimensions, as well as the weaknesses, the strengths. So you can also like correlate some kind of data, like if you have data on terrorism, on like economy of Pakistan, on water crisis, on I mean everything, you can correlate that data here. So you can even opt and write an essay on it. Okay, so this document is it is a strategy, a multi-pronged strategy which covers multiple dimensions, and it actually ensures the security of Pakistan as well as of its citizens, and it also guarantees the safety and guard of its economy. So the argument that the nation of Pakistan will be truly secure only if it has economic and human security alongside military security. So this is the major document, the major concept, the rationale behind this national security policy. They say that economy, human security is equally important, just like military security is. So that's why they came up with this policy and they expanded the spectrum of their national security. so, so moving on, the NSP not only recognizes the conventional security, but also it actually covers the other threats, the other emerging threats that which are actually unconventional in nature. So NSP has taken a citizen-centric approach. Citizen-centric means that it has covered those all aspects like covering its the safety of its citizens, the population, the environment, the energy energy crisis, water crisis, as well as the conflicts moving on, ethnic as well as national, ethnic and I mean other conflicts that normally emerges. So here we go with the main points. So these are the six major areas that the NSP has covered: national cohesion, securing economy or economic future, defense and territorial integrity, internal security, foreign policy, and human security. So these six aspects we'll be covering in this lecture. So before that, we'll be going through background, like Pakistan has always focused or remained focused on military security, and nothing was planned beyond that. So just one point here that I've underlined the important key points, so you can just cover those points for your understanding or notes. So Pakistan has always just covered the military security, and nothing was planned beyond that. So since the inception, due to having quite antagonistic neighbors like India and Afghanistan, it was really important to have military capabilities and proper infrastructure. So they joined CATO and CENTO for this purpose, multiple blocks. They even entered in a coalition with the US and war on terror. So which actually haunts us right now in 2023. So over the time, these threats, I mean, multiple threats emerged, and even the enemy states, without engaging any military conflict, they were disturbing our peace and security, internal peace and security. And after the emergence of I mean the revolution of IT and interconnectedness, the world remained too much connected, and a state from far away can influence the affairs of this state with just using some kind of social media website. And even the international financial institutions like IMF and FATF, they were used to just fulfill their economic interest or political interest or I mean influencing the global power politics. So for that reason, Pakistan came up with a comprehensive national security policy, and it was announced on 14th of January 2022. It is from 14th January 2022 to 2026, but it will be reviewed yearly, like what progress has been made, etc. So I was talking about the part of this national security policy that has remained classified and the public do not know about it. So The major portion that remained classified and not accessible to public are issues like accountability, curriculum review, like single national curriculum was implemented. So reviewing it, governance challenges, reviewing even 18th Amendment, and future status of GB, Gilgit Baltistan, what will be its future status. So these are all classified parts. So we actually do not know much about it. So now you may have a question that what is a traditional security, a conventional, and what is non-conventional, non-traditional security. So here I have an excerpt from a book. The book name is Coping with Global Environmental Challenges, Disasters and Security by John Green and others. So actually it was written by John Green and multiple authors, but the major portion was written by John Green. So according to them, the traditional security concept focuses on military security, while what is the new concept about like non-traditional security? So it actually covers economic, social, environmental, cultural security dimensions besides the narrow traditional military security, thus making it a comprehensive concept. Like in traditional security, we just focus on military security, but in non-traditional security, we cover besides military security, we cover our economy, economic security, social security, environmental, cultural, etc., and so on and so forth, other aspects as well. Another difference is that in traditional security concept, the approach of traditional security is how to deal with a conflict, a threat, while the non-traditional security, it it actually stresses upon the fact that how to avert a threat before it happens. So these are the two major points, that it is a narrow concept, non-traditional security is expanded concept. So there are a few examples as well of non-traditional security threats like climate change and infectious diseases, natural disasters, terrorism, disinformation, economic coercion such as FATF, you can quote that, energy insecurity, food insecurity, overpopulation, economic insecurity, terrorism, extremism, cyber security, etc. So these are non-traditional security threats. So there are a few examples as well. Okay, so what are the six major areas that has been covered in this policy? So I've bolded the relevant points and underlined it so you can easily see that first of all, the first domain that it has covered is foreign policy domain. So in foreign policy domain, what will be the foreign policy of Pakistan in future? So they'll focus on political and economic diplomacy, not just political diplomacy through their embassies and foreign missions, but they'll also do economic diplomacy, just like to increase trade with other countries. So it will be a priority for them. And they will prefer peace in the region is their priority. So Pakistan first will focus on political and economic diplomacy. Second, they'll promote peace in the region. Third, they'll not be part of any bloc politics. They'll not they will not join blocs like they have joined previously in the form of Seato, Cento, as well as the war on terror. What about Kashmir? Is there any change? So no, there is no change. Kashmir dispute still is at the core of bilateral relationship with India, and Pakistan will keep intact its moral, diplomatic, political, and legal support to the people of Kashmir until they achieve their right of self-determination as per the UNSC resolutions. So this is the fourth point. The fifth point is Pakistan will strive to improve its relation with neighbors. The sixth point is Pakistan will not be like using passive diplomacy rather than proactive diplomacy. They'll counter the negative impression that has been created or that exists in the minds of international community by whatever means, whether it is by through the disinformation spread by India or the terrorism perception that exists in Pakistan, the terrorism and other such stuff. So Pakistan will use proactive diplomacy. And another major change is that Pakistan will enhance its bilateral relationship with the US, expanding it from the narrow concept of counterterrorism efforts or cooperation. So there are multiple points in this first domain. Let me just recapitulate it. First, Pakistan will use political and economic diplomacy. Second, peace in the region. Third, not to be part of any bloc politics. Fourth, same stance on Kashmir. Fifth, improving ties with neighboring states. Sixth, using proactive diplomacy to counter negative impression about Pakistan. And seventh, broadening relation with US from the narrow concept of counter-terrorism cooperation. So these are the 7 points. You can write it down for your notes. The second point, traditional security, the conventional security, maintaining the territorial integrity. So what is covered in this part? First, to ensure defense of Pakistan, the challenges posed by hybrid warfare. So what do we mean actually by saying that Pakistan is faced with hybrid warfare? So we mean war on political front, the conventional side, like the military conflict, cyber warfare, like using the internet or hacking, or I mean, I've already uploaded a lecture on cybersecurity. The diplomacy, like on global level, when one your opponent or enemy country use its diplomacy to suppress you or get their interests fulfilled. So using diplomacy, electoral interests like interfering in your politics, your elections, the maneuvering of your election drives, changing mind of the masses by disinformation. So these are all included in hybrid warfare, like war, not just on conventional fronts, not just a military conflict, not just a border conflict, but rather from multiple dimensions and angles. So this is hybrid warfare. So Pakistan is faced with hybrid warfare challenges as well as cyber security threats. So Pakistan has decided to further enhance its conventional capabilities, like whatever they have, the conventional capabilities in the form of fighter jets, their nuclear arms, their missile systems. So all will be upgraded, modernized. And it was also decided that due to the changing situation, even especially after the resurgence of TTP, after the withdrawal of US from Afghanistan, so Pakistan has decided to safeguard and further protect its nuclear arms. And the third point is Pakistan should avoid engaging in any arm race with any country. And special focus will be paid to cyber security, the role of cyber security. So please refer to the lecture I've already uploaded about cybersecurity. So recapitulating it, Pakistan is faced with hybrid warfare and cyber attacks, and Pakistan will enhance its conventional capabilities, modernize its weapons, safeguard its nuclear arms, and not to engage with any country an arm race, and special focus will be paid to cyber security. So this is covered in the second part. Now, okay, so there is a quotation by Young Kim, South Korean politician, that border security is imperative for national security, public safety, and economic success of communities. So he here highlights the importance of conventional security as well. So you can quote this quotation. Now the third point, national cohesion. So the unity, the integration, the coherence, the symmetry among different segments of society. So national cohesion, and this Pakistan also stresses upon, in this policy, Pakistan stresses upon to maintain security from within through unity, like maintaining unity and further promoting it, unity among masses, different groups. So the need to preserve the identity, to be a Pakistani, to be the citizen of this state, it will be done through fostering patriotism and promoting unity among various ethnic as well as religious groups, like reducing sectarian violence and the ethnicity, the like the complexion of ethnicity, it will be reduced, and patriotism, the feelings of patriotism will be promoted among masses. So they also favor the federal nature of Pakistan, good governance, strengthening the bond between the citizen as well as the state, between the citizen and the state. And e-governance concept will be implemented to improve the quality of services, the easy access of services to masses, easy provision of services. Like Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So here we have covered a couple of points, like internal security is also really important, and for this reason national cohesion, national unity, integration, it was identified that patriotism will be promoted and unity will be created through reducing the ethnic or sectarian violence. For this reason, Pakistan has also favored federal nature of Pakistan, good governance using e-governance, and strengthening bond between the citizens and the state. So they have given a vision that how will we move on. So you can quote this quotation of Abraham Lincoln. Now the fourth point is securing the economy, the economic future. So you now understand, as we are passing through this tough tough stage of our economic crisis. So you now understand the importance of economy, that you can even compromise on your armed capabilities, military capabilities. So we are at a point that we are very at the verge of default, and we are begging different states for this, just to save us from being get defaulted. So this national security policy also covers the economy, the economic future, the economic safety of Pakistan. And for this reason, they've introduced kind of an agenda for the future of economy of Pakistan. So first, I've highlighted the points that they will promote their economy, they'll boost their economy through trade only, like through trade, not only, but mostly through trade. Like we are not to wait for bailouts or, big other states for help. So we'll try to promote and expand our trade deals with other countries. So economy will be based on trade only with other countries. Okay. So also Pakistan will use its geo-economic location. It will capitalize its geo-economic location, the vital placement that Pakistan has on geography of the world. So Pakistan will utilize it as a transit route, whatever you call it, but Pakistan will focus on it to capitalize its strategic location. Okay, now the economy is also related with energy security. So energy security was also covered that Pakistan will try to promote sustainable resources for energy, like focusing on renewable energy or exploiting their indigenous resources of energy. So Pakistan will also ensure its energy security. So this is the third point. The fourth point is quality of education will be improved because skilled workers are important. We have bunch of youth, but how do we make it an asset rather than liability? To make it, to give it skills, to make it a skilled workforce, a skilled youth. So only then we can use it and boost our economy. So fourth, I think, fourth was to focus on provision of quality education to attain skilled workforce. And also artificial intelligence will be focused. Not much has been said about it, but AI will be also focused because it is the future. So in this part, we have covered 4 points that economy will be boosted through trade, geo-economic position will be utilized, energy security and quality education will be ensured. And the fifth was AI will be focused as well. Okay, the fifth part is internal security, like maintaining law and order inside the country. So the second part that we have covered to maintain or keep or promote national cohesion, that was a different thing. Here in this part, they've covered that first the background information that state borders are really important, but that concept is now, older one. Now the focus should equally be on internal security, and for this reason they'll combat terrorism, subnationalism, and they'll also conduct operations or eliminate the organized crimes, and they'll try to ensure to protect the life and property of its citizens. So in this part, they've covered that they'll ensure rule of law, there will be zero tolerance for any terrorist activities, they'll counter terrorism, subnationalism, and organized crime, and the citizens will be provided a safer environment with regard to their life and property. So here a few things were addressed. Now the last one, human security. So human security, it is quite a comprehensive outline. Like they've covered multiple things and it's quite, impressive. Like they've covered that population will be controlled to improve the quality of life. Health related issues like increasing the budget of health, especially after the COVID pandemic, global healthcare sector suffered a setback and Pakistan has though Pakistan has performed really well to curtail the viruses, the COVID virus, but still, Pakistani health sector needs improvement, and that's why healthcare facilities and budget will be like focused. So first, population will be controlled. Second, healthcare sector will be encouraged or invested in. The third thing is climate change. Like it is, Pakistan is amongst the top 10 vulnerable countries. So they also highlight this fact that climate change is not just due to Pakistan. Pakistan is emitting, negligible portion of carbon emission. So for this reason, it has to be highlighted and will be also focused. And Pakistan will also ensure the safety and security of its water, like providing water security, food security, gender security. So these are a few concepts that were covered in this part that Pakistan will control population to improve healthy lives. Healthcare sector will be promoted. Climate change, issue of climate change try will be highlighted on global arena. Water security, food security, as well as gender security will also be ensured. So these were the few points in the sixth part. Now, how do you quote it when a question like the terrorism and NSP relations come to you in a paper? So for this reason, you have to actually correlate some kind of data if you have on terrorism, Pakistani military operations against the terrorists, or anything that Pakistan has suffered in the form of economic loss, human loss, infrastructure, the a sharp decline in business activities. So you can quote multiple things that NSP has ensured. Even you can quote the. I don't think that will be relevant here to quote climate change, but economy and everything is covered here. Good governance, cyber security, like terrorists are using cyberspace for their activities as well. So you can quote here multiple things. And also this is one of the point that foreign policy and foreign policy part we have also covered before that Pakistan will not be a part of any bloc or global bloc politics. And the US, the relation between the US and Pakistan will be enhanced beyond the counterterrorism efforts. So the US cannot just dictate us to do more, rather than they have to contribute towards our economy and trade and safety and ensuring the peace inside, etc. So for this reason, you can quote multiple things here, and even in Constitution's Article 256, it says no private organization capable of functioning as a military organization shall be formed. Like private armies, a person having bunch of people is his army will not be tolerated as per the constitution, and it will be illegal. So now coming to its strengths and weaknesses. The first strength is you can, on your own write the strengths and weaknesses from the point that we have covered. So first, non-traditional security threats were covered, identified. Like first, if you talk about climate change, it is a non-traditional security threat, and for this, climate change expert Ali Tokir Sheikh argues that NSP, National Security Policy, has opened up space for the state apparatus to recognize non-traditional security threats like climate change and cyber warfare. So you can quote this quotation as well. That is per the climate expert, he has also acclaimed this policy, praised this policy that it has actually identified the major components that were missing in our national priorities, national security priorities. So the first thing is it has identified non-traditional security threats. So another point that you can mention here is water crisis or water scarcity. Like by 2025, Pakistan will be among acute water acute water scarce country. So it has covered the water crisis as well, the cyber security as well. So for cyber security, you can quote example of cyber attack on Saudi Arabia, the payment system, on Iran petrol pumps, like the payment for stock there, frozen there. So a virus stuxnet was used. It was jointly created by Mossad, Israel, and CIA US. So they've targeted the Iranian petrol pump with just a virus. Similar, I've covered most of the examples, major or important or famous example of cyber attacks and the other lectures. So you have to watch that as well. And it is also the non-traditional security threats. It has also covered the population issue, population explosion. So you can quote multiple stuff here that it has covered multiple things with regard to non-traditional security threats. The second thing is economic security is really important, and Pakistan has ranked miserably low with regard to its performance and economic indicator. So economic security is really important. You can quote the example of Singapore that in the leadership of Lee Kuan Yew, despite having no resources and it's being a very small city state, but its GDP is much more than Pakistan due to proper leadership and its economy, the supply chain contribution. So it boosted its economy through other measures, though they lacked resources and proper agricultural land. But if we quote the example of Pakistan, Pakistan has performed miserably low in every indicator. So today, if we observe Pakistan's economy is under attack, we see the example of FATF, the bailout programs and negotiation with IMF. We can see our leaders begging for the country and economy. So you can quote multiple examples here that Pakistan is facing this kind of trade deficit and inflation and foreign loans, and you can quote multiple things. Whatever you have in your mind regarding the economic crisis, so you can quote it here that Pakistan is suffering from it, and this policy has covered the economic security, so which is a positive sign. Also, they've said that trade with other states will be increased, and capitalizing upon the geo-economic location, energy, the controlling the energy crisis or fulfilling the energy needs, and also they have focused the quality education to get skilled workforce. So there are a few points that were discussed earlier, and you can quote it here that these are some positive points that they've ensured through this policy, the economic security. Okay, the third major strength of this policy is that they've also covered the human development. They've related or connected the human development with security. So have you have covered that gender security, food security, water security, it will be covered. And citizens of the state should be protected, their life and property. Also, the if we observe this policy, so there we observe a shift from military industrial complex to a welfare state. So first the priority was just to enhance military capabilities. Now the citizens were given due importance. So here in the third point, they have connected human development, human security with national security. So now gender security, food security, quality education. Sorry, quality education was in the previous point as well. And citizens will be protected. So there are a few points that we have already covered and we can quote it here as well. So the fourth point is recognizing societal factors is a mean towards achieving security. Like we have already talked about it, that ethnic violence or sectarian violence will be eliminated or discouraged in this country, and unity will be created through the evolving the feelings of patriotism. So it's quite a comprehensive document. Sectarianism and subnationalism will be eliminated. So these were the few points. I hope you are clear about it. So now coming to the last portion, that is weaknesses. So it's important one to make a SWOT analysis, strength and weaknesses. We are not discussing the other dimensions, but just strengths and weaknesses. So first, there is no mechanism for the continuation of policy. Like they have formed a policy, they've created this and announced it, but how it will continue after 2026, like it's for 5 years. So Christopher Jeffler says, a political scientist who is, Pakistan has been prone to instability, uncertainty ever since its inception, as illustrated through three coups and three constitutions over a period of just 5 decades, 50 years. With such dynamics in mind, it would be difficult for any policy to see continuity. So continuation of this policy is one of the major challenge and a weakness. There is no roadmap yet how it will be, how will, how will the state keep and take this policy for future. So no mechanism is provided for entrenchment or continuation of this policy. So you can quote the Christopher Jeffrell and his observation about Pakistani politics and continuation of policies. So this policy will also face such potential threats of uncertainty. Pakistan is good at making policies, but its continuation and implementation is a major challenge, has been a major challenge since its inception. So here they say NSP lacks mechanism of entrenchment, which would ensure continuity of the policy, nor the policy empowers any state institution to ensure continuity of this policy. So it does not give powers to any institution to ensure its continuity and implementation, etc. So this is also one of the weaknesses that we can identify here, that there is no roadmap for future continuation of this policy and no such power has been given to any institution to ensure its continuation and entrenchment. Okay, the second point is, now they've given a roadmap but not a clear roadmap how that these goals will be achieved, like gender security, water security, and human safety. And they've given some roadmap, but there is no clarity in the plans or framework that how these goals will be achieved. They've aptly and very clearly identified the goals that they have to achieve, but they lack the proper mechanism to achieve and attain those goals. So this is another issue in this policy document. The third is the complexity of non-traditional security threat has not been fully grasped. Like there are some missing points as well. They've identified multiple good things that we will tackle these, but there are other few concepts as well that they have missed in this policy, like biological warfare. Example of COVID-19 is just in front of us, not very far from us, and we have observed it a couple of years. So here they they have no mention of biological warfare and this policy document. And there might be some other things as well, which I mean here we didn't identify, but still it is still like a narrow kind of policy that they haven't fully grasped all concept of national security, whether it is conventional or non-conventional. They've covered major points, but there are missing links as well. Like just one example is given, biological warfare. The fourth and last point is it has opened multiple questions, the floodgate of multiple questions. Like, who will monitor the implementation of this policy? Who is authorized? Who has been given the powers to implement it, to continue it? This is the first thing. Who will execute the policy? Who will implement it? Like, execute it. So, like, there are multiple things that comes in the ambit of provincial government, and the state and provincial governments are at odds. We have seen it, and the province cannot be forced to do anything like on the whims of the federal government. So after 18th amendment, multiple stuff or things or ideas are the goals that have been identified in this national security policy. It comes under the ambit of provincial government. So how do you deal with the provincial government, like there are four provinces, so how do you implement it in the provinces? How to get their consent? They've already multiple conflicts going on among the provinces on water distribution, resources distribution, like the NFC award. So in this scenario, it will be really hard to persuade the provinces to implement these targets or to execute the policy as per the national security policy, which is a federal level policy. So this is also a major challenge which hasn't been answered here. Okay, the last point, this is the fifth last point. It it has given targets, but it has actually failed to empower institutions to combat these kind of issues or to attain those targets that were identified. So this policy has failed to some extent to empower institutions, relevant institutions. Like if we take the example of climate change ministry, so there they are facing the dearth, the scarcity of funds, the staff scarcity. They have very lower staff, low number of employees, and they need resources. So if you target climate change or reduce emission or plantation drive, so how do you deal with it when you are not giving funds and sufficient power to the relevant ministry? So it has failed to ensure to delegate powers to relevant ministries as well, to relevant institutions, department, organizations. So here we have covered the national security policy, what it is, its six major areas, strengths, weaknesses. So how do you write your conclusion for this topic? So I have to read it. In short, it is indeed a commendable step for the state to release a national security policy document for the first time ever. The way in which the document has addressed non traditional security threats alongside traditional security threats. The manner in which human development has been mentioned is indeed remarkable, as the state apparatus is recognizing the role of micro level factors. Like they are not just targeting the conventional factors, the conventional security rather than micro level factors. Though the strengths of the policy are indeed praiseworthy, the weaknesses cannot be brushed aside. It is unfortunate that there seems to be no roadmap towards achieving the goals in the policy, and the absence of a timeline further exacerbates matters. No mechanism has been advised to ensure continuity of the policy, which further adds to fears of the policy being unbound in times and political turmoil. Despite the pressing nature of such issue, it would be unjust to claim that the recent policy has failed to in absolute terms. Every state policy is bound to face criticism. However, it doesn't mean that the state has failed. On the balance, it appears that the state has made praiseworthy effort in highlighting security challenges to Pakistan and has provided the institution with a framework within which matters of national security can be resolved. So, we have covered, even in the conclusion, the major points that it has strengths and weaknesses. The state has done a good job while highlighting different factors, but still a lot has to be done right now. So, thank you so much. It was quite a lengthy lecture and a dull topic, but I hope you have enjoyed it as well as far as the information concerned was mentioned in these slides. So, if you need these slides or this file, you can text me. You can see my number in the description. Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.